This program is brought to you by Newsworks in cooperation with the City of Eau Claire. This program is simulcast on WRFP-LP 101.9 FM.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order. The minutes from the last meeting of May 15th were in your packet. Do you have any additions or corrections?
So moved by the guy that was late to his chair.
All right, very good. Is there a second to that motion to approve? It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved. Financial statements. Karen?
Okay, the financial statements were in your packet. Again, nothing out of the ordinary in terms of charges, just ongoing bill and maintenance expenses for the projects that still manage, or that we still have under our management.
Okay, any questions on the financial statements? Can I get a motion to approve as presented?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Financial statements are approved. Now, the item number 4 is closed session. The Redevelopment Authority will convene in closed session to discuss the Cannery Trail Residence LLC purchase agreement negotiations, which is permitted in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.851E for purposes of competitive bargaining. Can I get a motion to that effect? Okay, second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We are in closed session. To approve the development and purchase agreement between RDA and Cannery Trail Residence, Inc. for the purchase of property previously known as 115 Maxton Street, 1719 Mappa Street, 106 Cameron Street, and 1704, 1714, 1716, 1720, and 1724 Oxford Avenue, contingent upon approval of the City Council, approval of the remaining outstanding issues. Can I get a motion to that? Second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, are the microphones turned on? We can't hear you back.
Okay.
But we're good to go.
All right. Okay, the motion has been approved. Number 6, update on Block 7 and liner site, Pablo Properties project status and next steps.
Okay, the memo that we sent out yesterday was from a joint message from the city staff and from Pablo Properties. After several weeks, months of negotiation, unfortunately, we were not able to come to an agreement with them. They struggled to put together a proposal and a concept based on some changes that were going on in their market that made the project cash flow. So they are backing out of the Pablo Properties Inliner Site project, or excuse me, the Block 7 Inliner Site project. It's regrettable, but it is still a desirable location. We have still seen a lot of developer interest in those sites. We've been continuing to get calls asking, is it moving forward, or we have an opportunity to bid on the project again? So we're looking for input from the board on the direction we want to go in terms of the disposition of those two sites. Staff recommendation, we talked about this, would recommend putting them back out for RFP. A couple of modifications. We encourage the board to consider splitting them into 2 separate RFPs, one for the Block 7 and one for the liner site, but leaving it open for somebody to make a proposal, a joint proposal for both. We would also consider, had the board consider, do we want to look at potentially splitting the Block 7 site down further? Smaller parcels, potentially multiple. Obviously, we need to keep aware or advise that it would have to be done in a way that makes the splits of relatively equal value, which can be a little challenging on that site, wanting to make sure we have the right frontage road, access to Barstow Street, etc. But that's the discussion of the guidance we're looking for from the board this morning.
Comments, guys?
My comment would be that there would be a period of mourning. It was such a great idea and such a great possibility. So I just want to acknowledge that. I was really looking forward to that.
Could you use the microphone, please?
Yeah,
I didn't,
absolutely.
Okay.
Let's see, do I need to push the button?
I think you need to push the button, and then say something, and he'll nod at me. No, you don't need to push the button. Say something, Catherine.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Can you hear her?
Testing
He's
one, two.
making hand gestures. Can you hear Catherine? No. Can you, am I on? No, I'm on. I've got power. Here he comes, Catherine. We'll see what he says. Again, my apologies for all these technical problems. Come on in. Make sure we're on. Come on. So is her microphone functioning?
Oh,
We're not getting any.
we're getting a thumbs up
Are you
now.
getting it now?
The thumb up?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Catherine, please continue. You don't touch it. Don't touch it.
So, you know, if we have a gift of a take two, a runner-up gift of a take two, I think one lesson that the community learned is that there were a lot of people interested. I mean, an RFP yielded a really great result. And one of the glaring deficits was basically a lack of affordable housing that was even proposed down there. I think that continues to be a rub in the community of why can we only have high-end homes and why can any affordable units have to be outside of the main downtown area? So I think it would be worthwhile for us to think creatively of how do we set up a condition to add in some mixed income housing units there, whether that has been suggested, perhaps parsing down the property even to smaller chunks to perhaps encourage that type of development. So look forward to hearing what my colleagues might have to share.
Okay. Anybody else? Tom?
I'm in a bit of a loss. We were hearing that a lot of this commercial was sort of already spoken for.
That was actually one of the issues that came up. They originally had a large tenant commitment moving into this project. That tenant reduced their participation. The scale's like from 40,000 to 3,000 square feet. I mean, it was a significant change in what they were going to commit in terms of occupancy. And a project of this size, not being able to have a contract in hand with a client who would take a large portion of the property from the start, made it really difficult, made difficult cash flow. They looked at other options, as they expressed in the memo. They looked at throwing in a mix of residential to see if it changed the cash flow at all, trying to change the mix up of commercial to residential to office space, and nothing. It either made the project too complex to move forward on, or just made it challenging and wasn't viable, and they felt that their best option was to step back and let someone else take a crack at it.
So possibly the best thing to do is to give staff instructions to go back for an RFP for projects on all of it or some of it, and come back to us, because we can't micromanage that right now until we get some developers' interest. We had, what, 3 other folks that were running at us when we approved the Pablo thing, so
Correct.
it's out there.
And at least one of them has been calling about every week
Okay.
to see if it's moving forward or if it's going to become available.
Okay. And keep in mind that I think the board all agrees that residency in downtown Eau Claire is a big thing to help everybody from all different income levels. And just be aware of that as we talk to the people that are coming in. Comfortable with that, everybody? Okay.
I guess the one thing I would reference to the board is that the interest we've had from developers, none of them have been talking about affordable housing units. They are looking at market rate for that area. And it does, putting affordable into that does impact the valuation of those properties where we start talking about TID valuations. So I just want the board to keep that in mind as we start looking at drafting an RFP, which I've actually started the process of redrafting the RFPs for both properties. But that'll be something to keep in mind as we move forward and release for the project.
Given that we have strong interest, or sounds like strong interest remains, right?
Correct.
I don't,
some of that interest is not necessarily in the full properties. It definitely is an interest in split between Block 7 and Liner. One of the folks I've been calling have an interest in the Liner site, but do not have an interest in the Block 7 site. The Block 7 would simply be, what I do is craft an RFP that opens up the possibility of somebody proposing to do something on a smaller scale. If the board doesn't want to do that, we can obviously write it up to be offered as a whole project within that site. But if you want to leave, within the RFP, if you want to leave open the possibility of a split in that lot, we could draft it that way.
What's your pleasure?
My preference at this point would be to leave it at your discretion.
Any concerns with that? All right, you've got your direction on that. Let's go to number 7, update on Vanderwall and Associates Cannery District redevelopment potential site visit and RDA visit on June 27th.
Just real quickly on this, we did our initial conference call with Vanderwall and Associates for the revision of the Cannery District redevelopment district. They were very excited about the project. They see a lot of potential there. They are going to be in the community on the 27th, looking at the site, meeting with staff, and they also expressed an interest in meeting with stakeholders, which would be the RDA. I want to see if the board would be open to setting up a meeting, and then for those members of the RDA board who could attend, would be able to meet with developers. They just want to get some feedback from the RDA governing board.
Morning or afternoon?
Your preference. If there's a preference to the board, we'll direct them to go that way.
27th of June, folks, everybody, no doubt you have absolutely nothing on that day, on your calendar for that day, correct?
Be easier either at the beginning of the day or the end of the day.
Yeah. Let's make it the beginning of the day, as far as I'm concerned. Is that beginning of the day okay?
7:30 is good for me.
Switch back to caffeine. Yeah, I got to switch back to caffeine for sure. Okay. All right, let's look at a morning meeting on the 27th, and as many of us as could make it, will make it.
Yeah, there won't be any type of decisions to be made. This is simply
Yeah,
for
just
information and feedback from the board.
Okay, very good, thank you. Number 8, Cannery District Project, Pocket Neighborhood Update, the Wired Properties.
This is something I just want to kind of, again, put into your mind. There's a good chance we'll be seeing a proposal from Wired Properties next month. For those who were on the board last year, Wired Properties is an outfit out of Twin Cities area who are interested in doing a pocket neighborhood concept within the Cannery District. And they had identified a parcel within the Cannery District north of Kessler Park. They had conducted a number of neighborhood meetings, got feedback from the community, and had expressed interest. Their price points in the old project were very high, and they were was the reason that they ended up not moving forward on their original concept. They are coming back with slightly smaller homes, same density, much lower price points. They're really hitting kind of the affordable mid-price point market now. So that's the proposal we expect to see. But just kind of wanted to put that on your radar as we're likely to see this project coming up in the near future.
Okay, very good. Number 9, Executive Director's Report.
That goes back to interest in the community. We're still seeing a lot of interest in development. The Cannery District is still catching a lot of interest. We took a major development firm from Rochester, came in earlier this week. We took them around the community for a tour of a number of areas of potential development. This is a group that's looking at strictly for housing with the potential for some commercial down the road. But downtown is what really caught their attention, and the Cannery District really caught their attention. So we're still seeing a lot of interest in that area. So the work we're doing at Vanderwall will really be able to push some potential projects down the road.
Is that for homes for sale or for rentals?
These are multifamily, and they typically, their projects typically are 120 to 150 units at a time. This firm has, I looked them up on their web, and they list about $800 million in real estate assets currently on their roll. So this is a big firm with a lot of experience in the market. Pardon?
You want to tell us what it is?
Sure, let's see why not. It's Titan Development.
Okay.
Okay. All right, anything else? Then we'll go to number 5, which is announcements and correspondence. Any fan mail that you want to tell us about? Correspondence? Nope.
Nothing.
All right, the announcement, besides on the 27th, we talked about getting together. Our next scheduled meeting is July 17th, and I know that'll be a packed agenda, and hopefully we'll get our microphones working by then. And so any other comments or questions or anything?
If I could, Mike, and Aaron certainly can comment further, maybe Dale, but I just thought in terms of other good news to try to offset a little bit some of the understandable mourning, I mean, while just outside of the RDA district, I mean, we do have 2 other major projects getting to the point of memorandums of understanding. And one of them is really a direct relationship to that Block 7 liner RFP. So one of those proposers, is now moving, closer to a memorandum of agreement on the railroad lot. So that's city-owned property, but directly across Barstow Street from the liner, and a major mixed-use development proposal on that site. And then the other is the transfer center's site, which not only is a city and federally funded transit project, but also we expect to be a major workforce housing project in our downtown.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you. Nothing else, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.
This program was brought to you by a cooperation between Newsworks and the City of Eau Claire. A transcript of this meeting is available for the hearing impaired. It will be available within 7 days of this telecast. Call 715-839-4912 or TDD 715-839-1689, or write Eau Claire City Clerk, P.O. Box 5148, Eau Claire, Wisconsin 54702-5148. Newsworks is made possible by continuing community support. If you would like to volunteer or make a donation, please contact us via phone at 715